Hello viewers, today I am here with a poem of Kamala, My Mother at 66. I have prepared this slide within a very limited time because requests were coming from the students to post it as early as possible, and I tried to prepare it for you. So before proceeding into the text, it is very crucial to know something about the author, Kamala. Kamala was born on 31st March 1934 and she died 31st May 2009. Her pen name was Madhavi Kutti. In her writing, you will find an autobiographical note. She was the iconoclast of her generation. Icon means image or set of belief in our society, and clast means to break. So Kamala loves to break the icon, the stereotypical rules that was formed by patriarchy, and she liked to break this norms rule both in her real life and in her writing also. She was a very staunch feminist, and Kamala received so many prestigious prizes in her lifetime, and once her name was nominated for Nobel Prize also. Now about the poem. In the poem My Mother at 66, the poet talks about her mother. This poem is based on mother-daughter relation, and the poet shares her feeling for her mother. It is a sentimental account of the mother's approaching end through the eyes of the daughter. Before proceeding into the text, some interesting facts for you. It is a short poem with a single full stop. The poem is like a long sentence overflowing thought process, and in the poem you will find an autobiographical note of the poet. Dominant themes, that is the aging process. Aging process is a normal and natural process in our life, in human life. That after that, death consciousness. Throughout the poem, the death consciousness is a dominant theme. And last but not the least, mother-daughter relationship. And in order to beautify any language, generally the writer or the poet uses rhetorical devices or figures of speech. Through these figures of speech, the writers or the poet enhance the flavor of the language. Actually, this is the ornament of the language, and in this poem, the poet uses the devices of comparison, contrast, simile, personification, polysyndeton, and repetition. In the due course, I will elaborate all the rhetorical devices that those are present in the poem. Now let us start the text. Driving from my parents' home to Cochin last Friday morning, I saw my mother beside me. So the poet persona was driving from her parents' home to Cochin last Friday, as if she is narrating a story, or as if she is sharing her own mind in front of a listener or in front of the reader. I saw my mother beside me, and her mother was sitting beside her. Doze mean short, light sleep, open mouthed, her face ashen like that of a corpse. I have underlined this portion and I have changed the color of the font also, because here we will get the first rhetorical device of the poem, that is simile. The poet is comparing her mother's face with that of a corpse. Corpse means dead body. Corpse means dead body. So her mother's face was like ash. It was of ash color. Ashen like means it was of ash color, like that of a corpse. Corpse means dead body. And realized with pain that she was as old as she looked. And again, I would like to say one thing to my students, that she was as old as she. This is not at all an example of simile. What is the definition of simile? Simile is a rhetorical device in which two unallied things are compared. टू अनअलाइड, दो अलग अलग किस्म का चीज. सिमिली इज एन explicit comparison between two dissimilar things or ideas, but here the comparison is drawn between C and C. So same genre, both are of human beings, that's why it will not be a simile. But here her mother face was compared with that of a corpse. Here the two different things, her mother's face and of a corpse, these are two different things. That's why here it will be simile, but here we can't say that it is an example of simile. And she realized with pain that she was as old as she looked, but soon put that thought away. But soon the poet persona tried to overcome that thought. She cast away that thought and looked out at young trees sprinting. Actually they were riding a car. They were driving from Cochin and her mother was sitting beside her. So when these sorts of thoughts are coming to her mind, coming into the mind of the poet, no doubt this is very painful, and she tried to overcome this thought, this morbid thought which are coming in her mind. So in order to cast aside the thought, she is looking outside of her car, and what she found, and looked out at young trees sprinting. Young trees sprinting. So here you will find the contrast. Old mother is sitting beside the poet, and outside she could find young trees and sprinting. Sprinting means running out. They are running. The trees, actually this is a very natural phenomena. When you are riding a car, if you are looking outside, it seemed to the rider that the trees or the other natural landscape, it seemed that as if they are running. This is called the theory of relativity. So it seemed to the poet that the trees were running, and the trees are obviously young. So here is the first contrast. Old mother is sitting inside the car near the narrator, near the poet, and outside she found out that the young trees sprinting, they were running. The merry children spilling out of their homes. Merry children are very vibrant, very energetic, so they are always running. Again here is a contrast. Old mother and the merry children, young children, they are full of energy, and they are running out, they are spilling out of their homes. So the merry children were running out from their homes. But after the airport security checking, so if you have experienced this thing in the airport, what happens, there is a check post where the normal checking is going on, and after the checking, the person who is going with you to see you off, they will not be permitted to enter after that restricted zone. So the mother was standing this side, and the poet persona is going that side. But after the airport security check, standing a few yards away, so there is a gap of few years between the mother and the daughter, I looked again at her. So again the poet persona is looking at her mother. One means sick or colorless, her mother's face obviously. I looked at her one pale as a late winter's moon. So here again the second simile of the poem. The poet persona is comparing her mother with that of a late winter's moon. In a foreign country or in an Indian country, if it is a wintry moon, definitely it will not be as bright as we can see in a cloudless sky. And she was looking at her mother, and her mother was looking like a late winter's moon. So here is an instance of simile. The poet persona is comparing her mother with that of a late winter's moon, two dissimilar things or ideas. This is an explicit comparison between two dissimilar things or ideas. So here is an example or instance of simile. And felt that old familiar edge. Familiar mean known. जो जाना पहचाना जो एज है, गम है, दुख है, दर्द है. And felt that old familiar edge, my childhood's fear. So earlier these sorts of fear used to come in the mind of the poet. This was all childish fancies, but this time the thought that is the separation from her mother, the death of her mother, as her mother is advanced in age. She is already 66 years old. So the familiar edge is again coming in the mind of the poet. My childhood's fear. All but I said. But all I said was, see you soon, अम्मा. अम्मी, बहुत जल्द आपके साथ मुलाकात होगा. All I did was smile and smile and smile. After saying these last few words, the poet persona was laughing and laughing and laughing. So actually the poet persona is not in a position to speak more, because perhaps tears was coming in her eyes, or she was about to cry. She was trying to hide her apparent sorrows, or the sorrow of separation, through an artificial smile. The daughter is trying to project an artificial smile in order to hide her sincere and beloved tears. आंसुओं को छुपाने के लिए क्या कर रहा है? She was laughing and laughing and laughing. So what this is an example of polysyndeton. Polysyndeton means excessive use or so many use of conjunction. So here you will find that instance polysyndeton, and again here we will find that smile word has been repeated several times, thrice. So repetition is also there. Okay viewers, thank you. If you are liking my video, let me know by your liking and share it among your friends, among your classmates. If it is helpful to you, let me know. If you are motivating me, encouraging me in this way, definitely I will prepare more and more videos for you, and I will try to help you. Thank you.